So I was having a conversation with one of my patients today, and generally we have pretty good conversations. Like I like interacting with her. She's a very nice old lady. And we started getting into the topic about friendships. She was telling me that, despite having, despite being married to her husband, despite having her kids, like she still feels lonely, which is, I'm not gonna say it's not surprising, but it's pretty common, right? Like loneliness is such a big thing, especially now in the 21st century. Anyways, she started telling me about how she only had this one person that pretty much calls her every single day. And it's one of those people where it's like, they'll call to say, hey, what's up? What are you doing? Or something like that, right? That's how she described it. And how the conversation is always negative. And anyways, so I asked her, like, is this the only person you actually like have as a friend? And it turns out that she's like, no, I have other friends too, but I feel like they never call me, they never reach out to me. So I'm like, why don't you reach out to them then and see, what they're up to? Why don't you give them a call? And she's like, oh, I don't know. Maybe they feel like they don't want to receive my call. And this is funny because I feel like a lot of us go through this. And I've gone through this myself, actually. I remember this was like back in November of 2019. I was driving back home, just kind of feeling a little, I'll say a little depressed. Not to that level, but I called my mom and I was just like, hey mom, I'm really struggling. Like, why is it that I feel like I always have to make the effort to call out and reach people? Like, why is it that I'm always the one texting, calling, initiating activities? And she's like, I don't know, maybe people are just like that these days, right? And you let me know, like, do you feel the same way as well? Like, do you feel like if you're the type who's always reaching out to somebody, you're the one who's always initiating the text, the conversations? It's like, are you okay with that? Like, does that bother you at all that no one reaches out to you? And the reason why this bothered me this kind of bothered me because it was kind of in contrast to my values and my belief system, right? So let me check out my dog. Okay. She's having a good time just walking around the balcony area. The reason being is because I had this preconception before that, if you're a popular person, you're friendly, you're fun, and you're just the overall like good guy to hang out with, shouldn't people want to reach out to you and reach out and text you and call you and say, hey, we're having this event going on this weekend. Do you want to come? And I know that being an adult, it's different from, let's say, when you're in college where like there's always a party every week. There's always something going on every weekend, right? So people invite people to this event, invite people to that event. And I understand that it's different when we hit adulthood, right? We're all kind of settled into our careers now. We all have our own lives that we have to live. But it still bothered me. Like, I try my best to logically think about this, right? Like, hey, I tell myself, like, it's okay that I'm reaching out to people. It's okay to call and set these activities up because I realize that some people are just they're not used to it. They're not accustomed to it. And I started thinking about what I was like back in high school. And I had similar tendencies as well, right? Like, for example, I always had people reach out to me, and I'm honestly, I'm grateful for that, right? I've just always been that type of person where I was scared to initiate a conversation. I was scared to reach out to other people because I felt like their time was more precious than mine, and I don't want to bother them. You know what I mean? And I feel like this is probably what's going on with other people as well, where it's like they assume that maybe my time is busy, my activities are, it's taking up a lot of my time. And so perhaps they don't want to call me or they don't want to text me because they feel like they're bothering me, right? I mean, at this stage of my life, especially living in Washington where I had to basically start off brand new and make my own set of friends, most of my friends are pretty much women, which I don't mind at all. Like, these are all great, fantastic friends of mine at this point. And I think primarily because they're very good communicators. They know how to talk. They know how to connect well. And I only have like one like good guy friend who's Eddie. In my previous video, I kind of talked about. And other than that, that's pretty much it. So I have like basically 4 who I would consider like really, really like tight, close-knit friends here. Where it's like if I have a problem, I can go to them and just say, hey, I'm having a problem. I'm having some sort of dilemma. I can go. I feel like 100% I could go to these people, right? So Meg, I know you watch my videos. You're one of those people. Hopefully, I mean, meaning like I'm the same with you. Andrea, same with you. And Stephanie, I know you're not subscribed to my channel, but I also consider you a very good friend of mine as well. And these are the people that always, they either reach out to me or I reach out to them. It's basically a back and forth, right? And I feel like that's very important in a friendship. And I was talking, again, going back to my patient, I was telling her like, hey, listen, sometimes it's okay to just reach out to these people. But I added a little bit of not a caveat, I don't want to say a warning, but I told her like, as long as you want to hang out with these people, right? Meaning like you actually enjoy their company, you're not just wasting, not necessarily using the word wasting time, but like filling time, right? You don't want to feel like, oh, I'm just going to hang out with them because I have nothing else better to do. I mean, granted, maybe a lot of us do that. But for me, like if I want to hang out, if I want to call, if I want to reach out to somebody, I'll go ahead and call them. I'll go ahead and just say, hey, there's this really cool event going on this Saturday. Do you want to come? Mainly because I like hanging out with them. We always have good interactions. We always have very good conversations. And those are the people that I want to spend my valuable time with, right? Because I don't want to just go out and talk to a random person or a random, friend who I consider like a level 1 friend just to say I'm not alone, right? I'd rather just be by myself than to hang out with somebody like that. So, I mean, maintaining friendships is actually really, really hard to do, believe it or not, especially once you hit the working life, right? Once you hit your career. It's because, let's say, for most people, they have their wives or their husbands, and in addition to having kids, most of your time is suddenly not free anymore, right? Your time is spent with your family. And I remember this one, where did I learn this from? It was a speech I gave about loneliness, right? And why people experience loneliness. It's just at some point you wake up and you realize, holy crap, I have not reached out to my friends in a long time. And this happens whether because, you became busy, they became busy, and people just all of a sudden cut communication because people get busy. And this is why it's important that if you're feeling lonely, if you're feeling like you don't have a lot of friends anymore, write down a list of people that you actually enjoy spending time with, right? Like what brought you together, what fundamentally made you guys connect to begin with. You know what I mean? Because in all likelihood, that's still gonna be there. Granted that you might not see them every day, you might not talk to them every day, but just try and reconnect with them. Even, pick up the phone and call people these days. Most people don't call on the phone anymore. Most people prefer texting. Yeah, she's okay. And I understand it because texting, one, it's easier, right? I could free up my time, just text, put the phone away, text again. But you could call too. Like, the only person I actually call on the phone is actually Andrea and Stephanie. Meg, I see her pretty much like 2 or 3 times a week because I see her at basketball and gym and yoga and all that. But other than that, I mean, Eddie, I text mainly, but he's so busy. I don't try to affect his lifestyle too much. He's an anesthesiologist. He's got his real estate business thing coming up, and he's got 2 kids and a wife. We'll leave it at that. And this is why. So going back to my original, if you're feeling like you're lonely, you feel like you don't have a lot of friends, reach out to your old. One is reach out to your old friends from high school, college, work. Give them a call and just say, hey, what's going on? You want to grab some coffee? Do you want to go to this event that's going on this weekend? Just give them a call. It doesn't matter if you're always the one calling people. I'm telling that myself, okay? I am telling you to myself that, hey, if this ever bothers you, just understand that it's okay if you're always the one reaching out to people, as long as they're the one reciprocating back, saying, yeah, let's hang out, let's do something. And you guys actually have a good time interacting. Because one of my best friends, his name is John. John, you asshole. I'm always the one reaching out to him. Like, I always joke to him and his wife, actually. I'm like, if I never call you, if I never text you, will we just stop talking to each other? And he's probably like, yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'll do a better job next time, which I know he won't. But I just realized that some people are just fundamentally like this. They're not used to reaching out. They're not used to people. They're not used to them. They're not used to calling other people. They're not used to initiating activities and events. And sadly to say, this is just a personality type of lots of people, especially in this day and age where we would rather just Netflix and chill by ourselves and interact and hang out with our friends. And so, I guess I don't really have a conclusion, but going back to why maintaining friends is hard, it's because of scenarios like this where one person feels like they're always reaching out to somebody, and at some point they just get complacent, they get apathetic about like the fact that I'm always reaching out to this friend and I can't do it, or they don't want to do it anymore, they feel guilty or something. It happens, right? So that's why I'm telling you, like, if you're in the situation where you feel like you're always having to reach out to somebody, it's okay. As long as you want to hang out with that person, you actually enjoy their company, then there's nothing wrong with that. And I realize, I think that I tell myself this a lot every single time that I experience this a lot, because I do experience this very often, where I'm like, why am I always the one reaching out to people? Do people not want to hang out with me? Is there something wrong with me? But no, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with me. People just prefer to receive, right? Rather than to give, because giving is harder than receiving something, right? I mean, we all like to receive attention from other people. We all like to be invited to things. But sometimes we have to be the ones who invite people. We have to be the ones to initiate. We have to be the ones to initiate activities, conversations, events, so on and so forth. So anyways, I hope you're doing well. It's a fabulous day out here in beautiful Washington, beautiful Bellevue, and I have a basketball game in a couple of hours, and I am so psyched for that because I love basketball. Anyways, I hope you're doing well again, and I'll see you in my next video. Have a good day, buddy.